Okay, good afternoon to those of you who are joining us. We're going to wait a few minutes to allow people to log on and we'll get started. So,
For those of you who are waiting, um, you could make a little comment in the chat. Maybe you could offer a one word, how are you feeling today? If you could say, put your comment in the chat in just one word, how are you feeling today? And you can say whatever you'd like. I'm feeling nervous and excited.
well,
So that was
that's
two.
good.
That was three words. Inspired is good. I like that.
Ah, good.
And I'm excited because this is my first SCORE webinar live.
Yes, I think you've done some in person, haven't you?
A couple of them, yes.
Mhm.
Yes. Okay, so we've got five people. No, we've got six people.
Yeah,
And
some people are going to be a little bit late. I guess we should wait just a few more minutes.
okay,
So, you will be getting a copy of the slides and a link to the recording in the next couple days. So you don't have to take a lot of notes. You can sit back and relax and enjoy the presentation. Time is it? Oh, I think we should get started. And if other people come on, that'll be great. Um, as we move forward, again, welcome. This is the second session of Simple Steps. We're talking about business concept. And again, you'll get a copy of the slides and a link to the recording. Um, if you have questions, please put them in the Q&A because Jim is going to be asking you to put things in the chat and I don't want to get them mixed up. So questions in the Q&A, comments in the chat. So our speaker today is Jim Briner, who is a fairly new member to SCORE, and we're delighted that he's joined us. His background is in journalism, both in this country and abroad, more in, I think, running the newspaper, maybe, than just reporting. But he's got many years' experience and he's bilingual. So again, we're fortunate to have him, and I'm going to just turn it over to Jim and let him get started. At the end, we'll allow you to unmute yourself and maybe we can have more of a discussion. So, Jim?
okay. Thank you, Anita. Well, when I would give talks to students and media people in Mexico and in Spain, where I worked, I would always say, uh, I'd start the sessions with, it's another day of opportunity. Es otro día de oportunidad. So that's how we're going to start today. So I'm very excited to be here with you. I think it's always exciting to talk to entrepreneurs. They're very ambitious and optimistic. And today we're going to talk about the issue of trying to decide how you are going to build your business, the business concept. A lot of it will involve research on your part. Most of what we're going to talk about today is going to be about how to think about a business You may already have a business that's up and running and you're looking to get deeper, or you may be just starting out and you're trying to figure out what it is you want to do. So that's what we're going to do right now. So slide control is there. Okay, oops. So what is SCORE? SCORE is the service corps of retired executives. People like me, we're retired, and we look to help people who are doing the journey of starting a business. We have the largest network of free volunteer small business mentors in the country. And so we volunteer, we don't get paid, and our services are free. That's very important. Let me say that again. Our services are free, and all of our materials are free for you. Why do we do this? Well, I think every mentor, SCORE mentor, has a similar mission. We're all trying to help small business communities through our mentoring and education of business people. And we all come at it from slightly different areas, some of us from one industry or another. My background, of course, is in news media, but really that spills over into the area of marketing, digital communication, which is a big issue today for any business, marketing and sales. So that's where we come from. Our services are free. Why and how? Well, the U.S. Small Business Administration is affiliated with SCORE, and they provide some of our funds. We have sponsors, and I'll present the names of those sponsors at the end of this session. And then there's this network of 10,000 volunteers. The value of having so many volunteers is that if one volunteer, like me or like Anita, uh, may not have the expertise in a particular area or problem that you have, we can call on other volunteers through the network, digitally and in person, to help you with whatever kinds of questions you might have. So here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about your dream, what your business idea is, what your business concept is. We're going to describe how you would create a feasibility draft. Feasibility draft being a document where you try to answer some basic questions that would help you narrow the focus and make your business idea, your business concept more effectively executed. We're going to look at industry profile data, or we're going to show you some sources that you can use to build your business concept. We're going to look at customer data, competitive data, and other data, including using AI to generate some data concepts. The one thing I would tell you about AI, I use it a lot for search and research, but you got to be careful. Uh, the information you get from AI always needs human intervention. Check all the sources. I know this from personal experience, from doing searches using AI and also using some of their tools. For example, I use AI tools for translation, English to Spanish and Spanish to English. And they're getting better and better and better. They're better all the time, but they're really bad at idiomatic expressions. Like, for example, if you would say he got caught off base, that's a baseball expression that doesn't mean anything to someone in another culture that doesn't know anything about baseball. But or you would say if somebody doesn't know what they were doing, you would say, "Oh, that person's out in left field," and the translation doesn't make any sense in Spanish. So you always need human intervention with AI. Just that's just one little cautionary note. So, capturing your dream. All of these people here on this slide, all these people started from basically from nothing. I mean, they started a business with an idea, and over time they they developed their ideas. Steven Spielberg, I think, is a good example. When he was a kid in junior high school, he started making movies, and he just loved making movies. And then when he went to university, he studied making movies, and you all know he's made lots of great movies. Ray Kroc is the guy who founded the McDonald's as we know it. He bought a McDonald's restaurant in California, and he thought it was a great idea, and he developed it. He was a salesman who sold milkshake makers, and when he saw how Ray Kroc was making uh, milkshakes, when he saw how the McDonald's brothers were making milkshakes with his machines so effectively, uh, he decided, I got to buy that company and we'll make it really big. So if there's no obstacles in your way, what would be your ideal business? So maybe we could take a moment here, uh, a minute. What do you think, Anita? Um, should we ask people maybe to
Maybe
put,
to put it in the chat, maybe?
okay, yes, why don't you put your idea in the chat? We're going to take a minute or two here. Um, you won't need to put your name. When you put your business idea, it'll show up in the chat. So um, just tell us a little bit about your business idea, just in a few words. And I'm going to take a look and see what we've got. Or maybe you can watch that for me, Anita.
Well, I see that Randy Gilmore is here, and she's one of my clients.
Ah,
And they have a high-end dog treat business and do other like shampoos and other dog care equipment. So,
yes, this session can be for people who already have an established business, who want to deepen their understanding of how to think about making their business more successful. And that's a good example. I believe that business has been around for a number of years. All right. Anybody else? Okay. When you are thinking about your business, this can help you figure out where to go next. If you begin to write down your thinking about your business, the purpose of my business is whatever. You're going to fill out a document like this, not at this moment, but when we get done with this session, there will be a link to this particular document. And if you're thinking about what's the purpose of your business, what is it? What are you trying to do? In the case of many small businesses, one of the things they want to do is they want to provide for their family. The purpose of my business is to provide for my family by creating an enterprise that generates enough revenue for me to survive and thrive. The second point, the business will provide the following products and services. Many small business people or many people with the idea of creating a small business want to get into areas such as landscaping or restaurants or construction or home remodeling or that kind of thing. Uh, and this, if you think about what kinds of products and services you're going to offer, write it down in detail. It will help you narrow your focus and identify the most promising areas for generating revenue for your business. And then the final thing, I think, is really a kind of ethical question, a kind of moral issue that many, for businesses to be trustworthy, I think you have to be thinking about this. Uh, you want to be honest, you want to be fair, you want people to trust you. These are key issues. The things that are important and the values of my business will live by are possibly serve customers well, to treat people with respect, to always be honest, to create products of the highest quality, to reveal exactly how my products are made. What kinds of ingredients do I use? What kinds of tools do I use? What kinds of workers do I hire? What are our standards? Those kinds of things. And if you have questions about the business purpose or the how to define products and services or the issues, the things that are important, be sure to put them in the chat, I think, so we can answer those later. I would love for us to have a conversation about these things. So you need to define a market need. And what does that mean? That means you have to look at your community, your neighborhood, uh, your friends, family. What kinds of products and services that they need, but that don't exist or that do not seem to be offered in the marketplace as it is. What need does my product or service fill? What problem does it solve? And I think this issue of solving a problem is a big one. So, for example, in the world of marketing and communication, for example, the field I'm most familiar with, a market need might be, I want to help small businesses in my neighborhood or in my community develop effective marketing. If I were doing that kind of thing, that might be my particular offer. Or a need might be something like, uh, I see poor people in my neighborhood who don't have the ability or the means to get to work. And I might want to offer a transportation service that is affordable and serves the needs of the poor folks in my neighborhood. And in that case, you might need another organization, charitable organization, to be able to pay for that service. Because if you're helping poor folks, they don't have money. So you might have to get other people involved. What are the features and benefits of my product or service? Features or benefits. What's different about your product or service? Say, I've seen a number of businesses started around baked goods, cookies, cupcakes, and that sort of thing. What will be different about your product? Maybe it's all local ingredients. Maybe it's my products are all totally vegetarian. Maybe it's something else. And the competitive advantage is really critical. You need to identify what it is about you or your business that has an advantage over everybody else. It could be, for example, if you're a Spanish speaker, it could be that you're the only person around the particular neighborhood that is able to communicate effectively with the Hispanic Latino community. And that could be a competitive advantage. Or, for example, you might be a member of a particular religious group, and one of your competitive advantages might be that you have trust of people in your religious community or your ethnic community or your language community, that sort of thing. That can be a competitive advantage. Another competitive advantage would be our products are just better than anybody else's. We do it better. And that's, of course, a huge, huge advantage. Your business model, that's a sort of a highfalutin technical term. Basically, a business model is how am I going to generate revenue? How am I going to generate cash? And how am I going to do that in the most effective way so that uh, the amount of money that I'm generating from the business is enough to cover the costs. So it's just sort of basic. Basically, it's on the revenue side and on the cost side. There are a lot of pieces to that, such as which channels of um, marketing and sales you use to reach your customers. Are you selling in person? Are you selling online? Uh, all kinds of issues about relationships. Look at your personal background. What kind of skills and experience do you have that might help you in business? Sometimes you may, if you start writing down all of your business experiences and all your educational experiences, you may start to identify things that you hadn't thought of before that might be a source of knowledge that will serve your customers and so forth. So in my case, I worked at a McDonald's. I also worked at um, an ice cream parlor. I worked on a railroad track gang. And every one of those experiences, if I, really write them down, gives me ideas about learnings that I've gotten and skills that I have that maybe are not immediately obvious. What did I learn about working in a railroad track gang where we were repairing railroad tracks over the summer? I learned, well, one thing I learned was it's very hard work. Physical labor uh, at that time paid pretty well and helped me get through university. What else did I learn? I learned that my coworkers were all from Puerto Rico and I didn't speak their language. So uh, we were back and forth, communicating a little bit in English, a little bit in Spanish. So I learned the value of knowing another language. How risk tolerant are you? This is a really important question because in many cases, small business people put their house up for mortgage in order to get the money they need to do their to run their business. And are you willing to do that? If you're not, um, you might want to try to find other people to help you finance your business. So risk tolerance is a huge deal. What, are you willing to lose your house? Uh, I'm not suggesting that mortgaging your house is a necessity, but I do know that some business people, small business people, many of them actually do finance that way, or they finance using credit cards if their business is actually very small. And the last one, I would say that do I have the passion to sell this idea to others? The, selling is a skill. And the one thing I would tell you about selling is you don't have to be an outgoing person. You can be a very good salesperson by asking questions. The most effective salespeople, in my opinion, are those who ask the clients What do you need? What problems do you have? How can I help you? Or what suggestions do you have for my products or services that would make them more attractive to other people? So if you're still uncomfortable with that, you need to hire somebody. You need to bring somebody in, a partner who does feel comfortable going out, knocking on doors, having people refuse to see them, having people say, no, I'm not interested. Nah, no, thank you. Um, there are people who are so motivated. What they love to do is they love to get to the yes. And those kind of people will not be discouraged by being told no 10 times in one day. They'll just think, oh, that's a challenge and I'm going to do better. And so you want to bring in that kind of person if you don't feel comfortable selling. But again, if you want to be a good salesperson, if you have to sell yourself, be like a physician asking a person, well, how long have you had this problem? How long are you feeling pain in your business? How long uh, and what kinds of things are you doing to solve the problems that you have in your business? What have you tried? What's worked? What hasn't worked? Why do you think it hasn't worked? And so forth. Be the asker of questions, not giving people a sales pitch. Nobody likes a sales pitch. Nobody. Okay. All right. Is your idea feasible? Um, After you're going to get this slide at the end of this session, it's not going to be available to you the entire session. And what you want to do is look at these questions. For example, the idea feasibility. My product or service is servicing an unmet need. If you agree with that, give yourself up to 10 points, no more than 10. And then another part of this, my product or service could be expanded to gain additional customer groups. Give yourself a score on that. Market identification, implementation, funding down here. This is a big one. I understand what it will take to obtain funding. The answer is if it's no and you get a zero there, um, SCORE mentors can help you with all of these questions. The point I would make here is that you are not alone. You are not alone. SCORE mentors can help you with all these kinds of questions for which you do not have an answer. And I would encourage you to look for a SCORE mentor after this session. So again, go through these ideas. Personal readiness is the last one. I'm ready to work hard to achieve my business goals. I understand the challenges ahead and have a plan to tackle them. Again, give yourself no more than 10 points for each of these 10 items. And after you've done this kind of internal analysis, thinking about your business, you'll have a better idea of how to approach a mentor and say, this is what my problem, this is what my problem is. Can be very difficult for you yourself to explain what your issues are is if you would simply say, I don't know what I'm doing. It's a fair answer. Maybe fill out this form and you'll get a better idea of your own thinking, your own strengths, your own talents, and how you can deal with them. Build your business plan. At some point, you are going to need to go to somebody, probably uh, bankers, loan officers, investors, even friends and family you are going to want to know, well, if you want to borrow money from me, how are you going to pay it back? And if you don't have any kind of a draft of a business plan, um, a business concept, they might be less reluctant, uh, they might be reluctant to help you, more reluctant to help you. The business concept draft, this is a document that, again, this will, if you fill this out, you will get clearer in your own mind of what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, what the gaps are, what you already have and don't need any help filling out. So your business idea, your personal background, the industry profile. Industry profile is is about what is going on in your industry. If it's, for example, real estate, what's happening in the world of real estate? Well, all kinds of things are happening because of interest rate fluctuations. Target markets. Who are your potential customers? Is it everybody? Is it certain groups? Is it um, certain neighborhoods? Is it certain cities? Is it an online group? Who are your target markets? So these are the kinds of things you want to collect. I like to emphasize competitors. I very often, in working with entrepreneurs and people starting their own business, they would all say, "Well, I have no competitors." One of the areas I would hear that from young people would tell me, "I want to create a an online site about independent music." And they would say, well, the music, independent music that I like, I can't find it anywhere. Therefore, there's a market. Well, if you begin to search, you find that there are lots of people out there creating websites that promote independent music, that sell independent music, and so forth. So that's a cautionary tone. You always have competitors. If you're in the entertainment business in any way, meeting planner, show promoter, uh, you want to have a film, cinema. Everybody's competing for the time of people. So you always have lots of competitors. Always competing for people's attention, time, and money. Attention, time, and money. There's always lots of competitors. So be careful there. Don't say, oh, we don't have any competitors. There are always lots of competitors that maybe you're not seeing. Okay, how can you compete? You can compete on price. I, I I'm not a big fan of going in with the idea of I'm going to be the low cost provider. That can be a formula for going out of business. If your product is of high quality, you can ask a fair price. And again, do research on your competitors so that you know what kinds of prices people are charging. And then you can position your product's price in that area. Benefits and features, size and profitability of your competitors. How big are they? Are they much bigger than you are? If they're much bigger than you are, maybe they don't offer the kinds of individual attention that you might be able to offer a customer based on the size, your ability to be close to them. In market strategy, marketing, that's a big category. It involves messaging, where you position your messaging, who you target as your customers. That's all about marketing. these are one of the documents I want you to look at is Anne's nursery business plan. It's very detailed, probably more detailed than a startup of, someone who's starting from zero. However, there are lots of great ideas in there, lots of great thinking in Anne's nursery business plan. She has an established business, this uh, mythical person, this fictional person, Anne, who we use as an example, but her business plan is a good model. There's lots of good ideas. It takes you through the decision-making process. All right. This is maybe the most important slide here for all of you. And again, I would say you're not alone. If any of the things that we've talked about so far are somewhat mysterious to you, at every session, every step of the way, uh, you can get one-on-one marketing. I'm sorry, one-on-one mentoring from SCORE volunteers, whether it's from here at session one, between session one and session two, and the business concept, or preparing for session three on the marketing plan. Work with your mentor, your SCORE mentor, to help you get over the obstacles. That's what we're here for. You're not alone. There are people who can help. Our services are free. And here are some data websites that you can check. Again, more data. How do we offer services for free? We have many sponsors, and these are our local sponsors, some of which you may be familiar with: KeyBank, Wells Fargo, Comstar Credit Union, Growth Capital, and so forth. Well, with that, I think I'm going to pause and let's take some questions. Anita, maybe you have some suggestions for.
Okay, I don't see any questions in the Q&A, but if anybody is interested in asking a question, you can unmute yourself and feel free to ask the question. I guess we have a very shy group today. Don't seem to be any questions.
Estoy abierto a todas las preguntas.
I think that, this is almost the most difficult part of starting a business, is really honing in on what it is your business is going to provide to your clients and thinking about the market approach and what your marketing message is going to be. Fortunately, our next session is on marketing, and we have a marketing expert who will be going over that session. We also then have a financial session where I think a lot of clients have challenges with trying to work out how to do projections. And that's one strength that I think your SCORE mentor can help you with. And by the end, you should be able to decide, am I going to go forward with my business or not? And hopefully for most of you, we'll go forward. So if there aren't any questions, I think we are finished for today. And thank you, Jim, for doing the presentation. And thank you to all participating. Again, you'll get a copy of the slides and a link to the recording. We also would like to ask you to answer a survey. You'll be getting one in the next couple days. We like to get feedback from you on how we can improve what we're doing. So if you will take a few minutes and answer that survey, we would be very grateful. So have a very pleasant afternoon, and thank